So you've just picked up a second-hand car and it might even be your first car.
Maybe you bought it from a dealership or maybe you bought it privately.
So what do you do now?
And what do you check for?
In this video, we're going to show you everything you need to know, from insurance, engine checks, tools, basic servicing, cleaning, plus of course, some amazing automotive hacks and the most important one, your first modifications.
We have bought hundreds of cars over the years, so we're going to share with you everything we've learned.
Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods. You are about to learn every single thing that you will need to know when you're picking up your second-hand car.
He just bought this car cheap off Marketplace. It was the cheapest one in Australia. But once you've bought it, then what happens?
Good question. Come with me on a magical journey, people. Let's go. By now, you've done all of your paperwork and you've handed over your hard-earned cash. And now you've been handed the keys, and that means you are now fully committed. But before you leave the dealership or before you leave that person's house or apartment block, there are a few things that you have to do. The first of which is a quick visual inspection.
Make sure there's nothing hanging down under the car that's going to make weird noises or fall off onto the road. Check simple things like making sure the number plates are secured properly as well.
The next thing to check is the wheel nuts. Depending on the kind of car and wheel, you should either have 4, 5 or 6. Most importantly, you want to make sure that they're actually there, and secondarily, you want to make sure that they're tight. You can use a torque wrench, you can use a breaker bar, or you can use the toolkit that's usually found in the boot. You might notice that one of them looks different. That is a security nut, and normally there's a key for that hidden somewhere inside the car, so you'll need that if you want to tighten it up or take it off.
This is a good time to check your tyre tread depth. Most tyres will have tread depth indicators. By the time the tyre wears down to those indicators, that means it's time to replace them. It's also a good idea to check your tyre pressures. Either bring a gauge with you or you can go to a service station to check them and inflate them if necessary.
The next thing you want to do is check that all your lights and horn are working and double check that the car is actually registered and legal to drive. Do a quick check of your oil and coolant levels and confirm that you've got a working spare tyre and toolkit or an inflation kit before you set off. This is particularly important if you've bought a car interstate.
Often we are picking up cars from some pretty weird places, and to get there we often need navigation. Now if the car doesn't have it, your phone often does, and the best thing you can do then is put it on a quad lock so you can attach it to the car safely, plug it into charge so you know where you're going.
With all of your checks done, I like to put my key on a lanyard so that I don't lose it. Modern car keys can be super expensive to replace, and by putting it on a brightly coloured lanyard like this one that we sell on our website, it's easier to find if you place it down somewhere outside and easier to find inside the car too. Don't go out on the road with your car until you have some insurance coverage. If you roll out and you run into a Rolls Royce or a Daewoo Matiz and you are at fault, you could literally spend the rest of your life paying that off, and it is simply not worth it. Now, where we're from, there's a number of different insurance options and people find it quite confusing, so I thought I'd break it down. The first one is CTP, and if your car's registered in New South Wales, that means there is CTP with that registration. What that does is it covers the occupants of another vehicle, their medical expenses and associated costs. Now, third-party property does not look after your car, it looks after the property of the other person. So if you're at fault, it will look after their car. And the last one is comprehensive insurance. That looks after their car, your car, and theft, accidental damage, fire and stuff like that. Now with us, all of our cars here at Mighty Car Mods are insured with Shannons and have been for years. They are car enthusiasts, so they actually get it, and they offer agreed value. Now they also do motorbikes, they also do home insurance, so grab a quote for yourself, have a look on the Shannons website, it's shannons.com.au, and do not go out on the street in your new mad secondhand car until you have some coverage. So you're in the car, you've set up your Apple CarPlay or your Android, or you've got your phone mounted to a quad lock. You don't want to be thinking about where you're going, you just want to be focusing on the car. Now is not the time to start listening to your hectic sound system. You want to be fully in tune with what's going on in the car. You want to be listening for any noises that sound out of the ordinary. I'm talking clunks, screeches, thumps, any way that the car behaves that's not normal. Now, you don't need to know exactly why the car's making those noises, but making a list of anything that's not right will help you when you go to a mechanic and you say, hey, it makes a kind of weird noise back there when I brake, or when I accelerate, there's a strange noise, and that'll help diagnose any specific problems later. But on your way home, first stop is going to be the gas station for two very important tasks. There is no way of knowing what the quality of the fuel is in your car or how long it's been in there. So the first thing you want to do is top it up with the best kind of fuel you can find. Now this here is a petrol engine, so we are going to put in some 98 octane. Obviously if you've got a diesel, you want to put in some diesel, and if you drive an EV, you can skip this entirely and go home and drink some kombucha. Once you've filled up, reset your trip meter so you can keep an eye on your fuel consumption, and also fill up your washer bottle with water. We have heard of people being defected if it's running empty. Look at that chrome, that's gross, we'll fix that later. So many people never check this, but now it's time to sort out your tyre pressures. All right, now you've got your fuel, the next thing to do is check your tyre pressures. Now inside the door you'll find this little sticker. This here is your tyre pressure placard. Basically, it'll have lots of information about what pressures you need your tyre to be. It might be on this side, it might be on the other side, but that there will have all of the information you need, and then you set that number up over here. If your tyre's not inflated properly, it won't work properly, and this is overlooked by so many people. Ideally ongoing, you want to check your tyres when they're cold with your own gauge, but if you've just picked up your car, you want to make sure there's actually air in the tyres. Just remember that heat will affect the pressure readings. From here, get back in your car and head to your local auto store. There's a couple of essentials that you're going to need straight away. All right, there are a couple of things that you're going to want to grab on your way home, and I'm going to show you exactly what you need because you want your car clean and you want to be breathing in some nice clean air. Plus, you might need a couple of basic tools, so come with me, I'll show you exactly what you need. The first thing we ever do when we get home with a second-hand car is give it a good clean. You have no idea what was going on in your new car, and it may well be a rolling laboratory of human slime and actual biological waste. A bucket, sponge, some wash, interior cleaner, and a chamois will be everything you need to get started. Okay, so you've got all your car washing stuff to keep your car looking mad. Next up, you need two more important things. One of them is a cabin filter and the other is 1 litre of spare oil. Now, while you may not be ready yet to do your own oil change, it is always really handy to have a small amount of oil handy in case you need a top up like one of these small 1 litres. And a super handy hack if you want to find out what kind of oil your car needs. Number one, you can check your user's manual, but there's also this great website which is Castrol's Rego to Oil. Now, if I put in here Marty's Subaru HD95KT, which is head gasket, and I'm putting in a Subaru because let's be honest, they often need their oil checked. Now, if I click on get the right oil, what'll come up, it'll say there's a number of different vehicle matches. It's that one. When you go into here, it says that what we actually need is Castrol Edge 5W30, which is that one there. But not only that, this website will show you all of the other fluids and things you need as well. So it's super, super handy and a great thing to either leave in your car if it's an older car that's using a lot of oil, or just keep it in your garage for when you're doing your regular checks. Cabin filters are a consumable part of your car's service that should be changed fairly regularly, but depending on how old your car is and how limited its service history is, it may have never been changed, and when they're not changed, they are absolutely disgusting. It's a cheap and easy fix for you to do yourself. In fact, we've made a whole video showing you how to do it. So grab one from the shop. If you don't know exactly which one you need, go to your local Super Cheap Auto. They will help you. Grab one of those, and then there is one more thing we need to get before we hit the road. One of the funnest things about getting a new car is learning how to do some work on it yourself, and to do that, you're going to need some tools. Now, don't get overwhelmed. You can do all sorts of stuff with a really basic setup. This here is a 98-piece Mechanics Toolkit by ToolPro X. It comes with a lifetime warranty, really good quality, and you'll be able to do all sorts of stuff with that. With your basic toolkit and car washing bucket, you'll be able to manage most simple fixes yourself. But if you want to do some more, then check out our 5 levels of home garage video, which shows you everything you need to know to set up your own workshop at home. But if you're not confident with tools, or you don't feel like you know much about cars, don't worry. You can take your car to a mechanic for a check over, and for many people, this can make them feel much more at ease with a second-hand car, particularly if they didn't check it over properly before buying it. Going to a specialist for your kind of car may cost a little bit more, but they'll also probably have specific model knowledge. The Mini can get checked over for damage, repairs, and also access the car's computer known as the ECU to see if there's been any airbag activations, which may suggest that the car's been in an accident. With the all clear, it's time to head home and give your new car a good wash. We've got a whole video on how to do this, and by now you should be home and ready for the next step. So your car's clean, which means you've got rid of all of the human slime from the inside, and the outside is now something you can be proud of. And the added benefit of giving your car a wash means that you can go through all of the panels in a bit more detail and see if there's any damage and make sure everything's attached properly, things like the antenna, things like the badges. Now, when I was shooting Top Gear, we were driving an $11 million Pagani, and the badge was not even attached properly. So that is definitely something you should check. But also, once you're starting to get a bit more knowledgeable about where and what damage is on the car, you might find little things like this. So someone's opened the door and that's hit a wall, and you can see that's missing all of the paint. Now that could be a cause for rust, but also, and just as important for me, is every single time I see that, it's going to annoy me. So the best thing to do is actually touch that up with some colour match paint. Now the way to do that is get the colour match code for your car, which is either going to be inside the door jamb or on your VIN plate, and you can order that online, or you can go into Supercheap Auto and give them the details of your car, and they'll be able to mix you up a little pot with the recipe of all the different little colours and then give it to you with a little brush, which means that there can be touched up. It also means every time you park your car, if there's a little scratch or something, you can fix it up straight away, and that is something that I do every single time I buy a car on the first day. So that is what I'm going to do with that right now. A small container of touch-up paint should only be around $20 and will really help you keep on top of the look of your car. And if you've got larger repairs or damage on things like bumpers, you can also get spray cans with colour match paint. I'll link a video below that has a full how-to on how to do those larger repairs. But for now, make sure you order a small touch-up kit and then leave it in your glove box. One of the most dramatic improvements you can make to your car's dynamics, performance and safety is your tyre choice. Now this is often something that is overlooked when people are modifying their cars. They put lots of money into their wheels, visual mods, their exhaust and things like that, and tyres are often overlooked, but it is the number one most impactful thing in regards to your safety and the performance of your car. Now in my case, it's something that I have to change anyway, because all 4 of your tyres should be the same spec. Now sometimes they might be wider on the back or wider on the front, that's kind of known as a staggered set, but in my case, all 4 of these tyres are different brands and slightly different, which is not the way it should be. All of them should be the same. And if you're going to be thinking about changing your tyres, you might also consider changing your wheels as well. You might get some better fitment, it'll drastically alter the aesthetic of your car, and also just give it a bit more of a personalisation, a bit more of the style that you like. Now, personally, I don't mind these wheels that much, but Marty, what do you reckon? You need new wheels, real bad.
Wheels come in all shapes and sizes. Actually, they don't. They're usually round, but you can't just stick any wheel on your car and hope that it will work. Vehicle manufacturers make wheels with different stud patterns, offsets and diameters, and often these are model specific, so if you want to change yours, you'll need to do some research. When you get your second-hand car, getting onto a forum or community group for your make and model will usually point you in the right direction in terms of wheel and tyre combination that will work with your car.
The wheels I've chosen for my Mini are a set of New Speed RSE 11Rs, and these are made specifically for that Mini, so the fitment should be perfect. I've gone for black because I'm going for a bit of a black on black aesthetic, and these were sent up to me from BLK Motorsport down in Melbourne, so thank you very much to Evans for sending those up. And I've wrapped them in a set of Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s. Now this is Michelin's high performance, track focused but road legal tyre, and you'd be hard pressed to find any supercar or hypercar in the world that doesn't come with these tyres. Now you don't need to go for something as high end as this, but I am planning on doing a bunch of track days once I modify this car further, and I want track performance that is also legal. Now if you are not confident putting your wheels on yourself, you can throw all of these in the back of your car and go to your local wheel and tyre shop, and for a small fee they will fit them up for you. Otherwise, you can put them on yourself. Just make sure you get a torque wrench to get all the settings of your wheel nuts perfect. Check your car's manual to see where the jacking points are and use jack stands for added safety. Sometimes wheels are going to be sitting on threaded studs, but in our case, they're sitting on bolts, so watch out when you remove the last one because the wheel might fall off. The new setup has way more tyre, and it's going to look heaps better by filling up the guards. Place the wheels on the car and then gently hand tighten the nuts first before you use power tools so you don't cross thread them, and make sure your nuts and bolts are compatible with your wheels. There are different shapes and designs, and added to that, different manufacturers use a different pitch depth on their nuts and bolts, so do the research you need for your car. Once it's back down on the ground, grab a torque wrench and make sure that everything is torqued up properly. Your aftermarket wheels may or may not come with a center cap, which is that part that goes there. If it doesn't, you can get your existing wheels like this and pop them out, and if you're lucky, they will fit in there perfectly. If you're unsure about any of this stuff, just head down to your local wheel and tyre shop. They'll sort it out for you and it won't cost much. The last thing I like to look at when I got a car is actually look at the car itself. Now, when you look at your car, you stand back and you bathe in the glory of your Nugget. Are there any little things that you feel like maybe you could fix or change that are simple? You could change the badges, you could black things out. Now, in my case, when I look at this car, I see a bunch of things that I don't like. I see a bunch of things like this, that, this, gross, that, this. And they are all things that are easy to change. Chrome, yuck. So I've gone online and I've ordered all of the parts that I need to get rid of that chrominess. So that is what I'm going to do right now, because that means that when you look at your car every day, you go, you know what, it looks great. I mean, it's a Mini, but it doesn't have chrome, which is gross. There are so many ways that you can customize and modify your car to make it your own, but one of the easiest to start with is some basic visual mods. For this Mini, I've decided to get rid of all of this chrome with a variety of blackout parts that I've ordered off the internet.
I took a trip as a young and I'm running, I'm loving the freedom, I never look back. I got the vision of singing in every nation I land, we'll fly in a flag. I see us coming together, relax, and tell all the ops to give me the facts. Said if we bury the hatchet, we building a legacy fast. Thank God I don't run this one on my own, got the bros and the flows are the coldest. Man's kingdom focused, all on the road with the livest shows at the moment. I love my home and it's personal, but to be real I think I've outgrown it. Now it's airplane mode, ban 28 days of notice. When I'm gone, so catch me here today. You see me miles from home, might catch a flight to Paris. Spirit is telling me I need to go, I just can't stay, cause I'm on this global scene. I'ma start this dream in Paris.
If you're replacing a badge that doesn't have locator pins like this one on the back, then make sure you make a frame around it first with masking tape. That means when you're ready to put the new one on, you'll know exactly where it goes. And a caramel wheel like this on a drill helps you get rid of all of the gunk from the factory sticker. Once it's cleaned up properly, then you can get your new one ready to go. Line it up with the frame you've made, then stick it on. The last thing I'm going to recommend that you do when you get your new car is book into either a track day or an advanced driving course. This will give you some really good insight into how your car handles, what its capabilities are, and what your capabilities are, and ultimately will make you a better and safer driver. So book yourself in a track day, and you, my friends, will be ready to roll on the track and the street. A big thank you to all of our channel sponsors that help us make these videos. All of their information is below. Congratulations, my friends. You have made it through day one of owning your first car, or maybe you've had a few cars, but we hope that this video has given you a bunch of inspiration of what to look for, plus a checklist of things to go through when you get your very first second-hand car. Now, if you need a reminder of all the things we've done today, we've got a PDF checklist that is available to download for free from our website, which is mightycarmods.com. We'll leave a link down below so you can check that out, and when you're going to pick up your car, you can print that off or have it on your phone and have it ready to go. Now, next up, Marty is not here right now because he's picking up some mods for his new daily, which we are about to reveal to you. And yes, it is P-plate legal, and yes, he seems to think it's going to dominate my Mini. So next episode, we're going to be revealing his car, but also showing you a bunch of mods you can do to get started on your modification journey. And if you need some inspiration on that, make sure you check out all the videos on this channel. We've got hundreds and hundreds of videos, from really complex stuff like engine swaps and driveline swaps and adventures overseas, through to really basic things as well. So check them out on the Mighty Car Mods YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.